Hello and welcome to this videocast for subscribers to davidicke.com. Now, there's been a few stories running this week, like the elections in the United States, which were very bad for Obama and the Democrat Party. Connected to that, we've had the suggestion, widely agreed it seems, that the notorious, infamous, truly appalling Senator John McCain of Arizona will be heading up the Armed Services Committee as a result of the elections and have a big influence on, well, I was going to say American defense policy. That's what they call it, American attack policy in absolute truth. Then there's been stories that don't seem to be connected to that. Like there's been a big protest in the area around the British Parliament against austerity and other expressions of British government policy. And we've had the commemoration of the big anniversary of the First World War with nearly 900,000 ceramic poppies produced and put together around the Tower of London. Now, what I'm going to do today is talk about all those things, but connect them up because they are very related if you go deep enough. And let's start with the American election. It still amazes me, given all the evidence of history and not least recent and modern times, that people still think that changing a party to run a government is actually going to change anything. Here's an article on the midterm elections in a British newspaper, Daily Mail. Obama humbled as US voters rise up against their arrogant elite. Crushing defeat for Democrats mirrors discontent in Britain. Well, this is how it goes. We have essentially two-party state. Most places have a two-party state in terms of anyone that can get into government, unless there's a coalition involved, as we have in Britain at the moment with the Liberal Democrats. So 2-3 parties, usually two, have any chance of forming a government. So given that to have any chance of getting into government, you have to be in one of the major parties who have the financial resources and the access to the media to get their people elected. It means this, that you vote for Party A in the American sense in the last few years, that's the Democrats of Obama. And then you don't like him very much because he's basically just like all the rest, despite the fact that he got elected initially in 2008 by saying that more than any other politician in history that he stood for change, but he didn't. The reason they use this thing about change in elections is because of the way countries are run on behalf of an elite and not the people in general. It means that at any point in time, vast numbers of people are not happy with the status quo. So what these people come along and do is manipulate that and exploit that by saying, I stand for change, I'll bring about change. And people who don't like the status quo, which is vast numbers of people for the reasons I've explained, will go, yeah, oh, well, yeah, vote for you, yeah, change, that's what we need, change. And then what happens is, there's no change. There you go, that's the scam. Because what elections are about are not telling the public what they're going to do. They're telling the public what they need to tell the public, so the public in enough numbers will vote for them. And when you're voting electronically, as they do in America, maybe even that's not necessary anymore, but that they'll vote in enough numbers to put them into power. And when they put them into power, they then do what they were going to do anyway, which is invariably nothing like they said they would do. In Obama's case, these things have been blatant. So we have seamlessly gone from the extremes of Boy George Bush, the right, into a mirror, basically, of Bush, and that's the left of the Democrats. And when people in America who've sussed this call them the Republicrats, they are absolutely spot on. So this is an article written by a guy called Gavin Esler. He's a BBC presenter. And he says that the era of hope is over. Now, the era of hope never began because it was all a scam. It was all just window dressing to get the guy elected on this wave of optimism. And so that whole hope thing, I mean, what is hope? Hope is like sitting on a carousel horse, going round and round and round, hoping that you'll catch the one in front. Because hope is never now. Hope is a forward projection. And as long as we can be sold hope instead of change now, instead of decency now, then we'll go on taking this scam and saying, well, at least we hope it's going to get better now. It's not designed to get better. That's the idea. It's designed to go down the same unchanging agenda, no matter who's in power. And I'll explain how that's done as we go along in this videocast today. Esler goes on about how the election results for Obama were worse than the most pessimistic forecasts of his party's strategists, amounting to a comprehensive rejection of his governance. Well, like I say, when you are stuck with basically two parties, in America, absolutely two parties, then when you don't like one, the only alternative you've got to replacing them is the other. And here's the question. What if both of them, as they are, were controlled by the same force, the same network, the same cabal? You're just voting for masks on the same one face, masquerading as differences. And more people are beginning to see this, that no matter who you vote for, as they used to say when I was in America years ago, it doesn't matter who you vote for, the government still gets in. Actually, the secret government that people never see. And so when, people say, as I've been saying now for decades, what's the point in voting? You're just giving credence to a rigged system and credibility to a rigged system. People say, oh, you can't not vote. People fought for the vote. No, they didn't. They fought and campaigned for a vote that made a difference. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about votes that make no difference because the whole system is rigged. And thus, the only way at an election, at the point of the ballot, that we can make a statement, this system's rigged, we're having nothing to do with it until it's not rigged, is not to vote. Because in doing so, you are giving your energy and giving credibility to a completely rigged system. There's a point in that? I don't see it.